All right, everybody ready? Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for your patience and thanks for being here. I've got Executive Assistant Chief Troy Finner with me, Chief Bobby Dobbins, and Sergeant Rick Bass, Sergeant Bass of the Special Investigations Unit. Special Investigations Unit that actually has been involved in this investigation since its onset. So as you all know, this morning, the Houston Police Department assisted the Federal Bureau of Investigation in executing arrest warrants in relation to the Harding Street incident. Arrested and charged are Gerald Goins, former Houston police officer, who was indicted in the Texas Southern District for 2 counts of Title 18 of the United States Code 242, deprivation of rights under color of authority, 3 counts of Title 18 United States Code of Section 1512, tampering with a witness, victim, or an informant, and 1 count of Title 18 United States Code 1519, destruction, alteration, or falsification of records in federal investigations. This arrest warrant was issued on November 14, 2019 in the Southern District of Texas last week. The arrest took place with Sergeant Bass and members of his team and some of our folks from our frontline units in Harris County. So I want to thank Sergeant Bass for his work and his team for his work in the last few months, and I want to thank the Central Division Crime Suppression Team who assisted in this specific takedown. Also this morning, and by the way, former Officer Goins, Mr. Goins, was taken and transported to the Houston FBI field offices by Houston police personnel. Also taken into custody was former Officer Stephen Bryant, who was indicted in the Texas Southern District on 1 count of Title 18 United States Code, Section 1519, destruction, alteration, or falsification of records in federal investigations. And that arrest warrant was issued back on November 14, 2019. And that arrest took place in Fort Bend County, and assisting the FBI was the Special Investigations Unit of the Houston Police Department, the Sugar Land Police Department, and he was transported to the Houston FBI field office. Last person taken into custody this morning was Ms. Patricia Garcia. Garcia was indicted in the Southern District of Texas on 1 count violation of Title 18, United States Code 1018, Section 1018, false information and hoaxes. The location of that arrest was at 7812 Harding Street, and you all know where that's at. And that was a neighbor across the street. That arrest was made by the FBI with the assistance of our Special Investigations Unit and the Central Crime Suppression Team. And this individual was transported to the FBI field office. I want to start off by thanking the FBI. They're phenomenal partners, and by thanking the U.S. Attorney's Office and specifically Mr. Ryan, who's the U.S. Attorney for this area. When this incident occurred, as this community knows, within a matter of days, some flags went up, and this police department immediately began a comprehensive, exhaustive investigation into the actions of all the people that were arrested this morning, including Ms. Patricia Garcia, who was, as I've told this community before, we had reasons to initiate an investigation, and I think the fact that he was arrested today speaks as to the beginning of that investigation. We made a commitment when this happened to this community to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly, and to report back. And today is another step in that journey towards justice, and the journey to justice for the deceased individuals, Ms. Regina and Mr. Tuttle. And today is, again, another step in that direction. The departments continue to work very closely with the Harris County District Attorney's Office as they move forward with their state cases. You're going to have to talk to the DA about what she's going to do at this point. I've not talked to her with her case, with the status of that case. But the department has continued to work very closely with the Harris County District Attorney's Office and obviously with our federal partners with the FBI. What I want to say to the community is that once, as we said before, and we're going to reiterate again, we have never been afraid of finding the truth as a police department, because our commitment is to the truth and our commitment is to the rule of law. And I think, again, when the story of this incident is fully told, when it can be told, we are going to see a police department that out of what appeared to be a complete tragedy, and it is a tragedy when you have people shot, we didn't just take anything at face value. We initiated a very comprehensive investigation, and it was our department, like we said before, that provided the information to the District Attorney's Office that led to those state charges, and it's just the police department that continues to be very heavily involved and cooperating with the Harris County District Attorney's Office and the FBI that led to the indictments at the federal level and to the arrest today. And so with that, I again want to thank the FBI, the U.S. Attorney, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and I'm thankful that as it relates to the actions of these defendants that led to, in part, led to the death of Regina and Mr. Tuttle, I am grateful that for their family that today we're a step closer to holding these charged suspects accountable. And with that, I will want to open it to questions, but understand that I'm not going to be engaging in a debate on anything, and I'm not going to be, I'm going to be very limited into what I can discuss with you all. So I'll open up to questions. No, I'm not going to talk about this. Look, we got an indicted woman and an individual. I'm not going to talk about any specifics. Those are charges that were brought with the assistance of our Special Investigations Unit against her by our federal partners, and we're not going to talk about motive.
Do you know the relationship between Mrs. Garcia and the former officers? Did they have some type of like previous?
No, okay. All those rumors. Let me just tell the media there have been so many rumors in this and just about every rumor I've heard is wrong. What else?
What? Right after the Harkins raid, you had talked about that there was, PC. You guys had an initial call, and the investigation by the street officers, which prompted the investigation by the narcotics squad, which we all know what happened there. Does it feel like clearly by these federal indictments, it seems like everything from the call going forward is built on lies? How does that square with?
Well, I mean, look, just remember that the police department received a call. You know that somebody that placed a call to the police department, or maybe more than one call, led to a chain of events. But for that call, the information provided, we wouldn't be standing here today. And so all of that will go into play in terms of accountability, levels of accountability, what people are responsible for. But we're not going to talk about the specifics because, again, our number one responsibility is to the Tuttles, the Tuttle family, Regina and her family, and the officers that went to execute what they believe to be a lawfully obtained search warrant based on factual information provided by the case agent, in this case, former Officer Goins. And we have a responsibility to everyone, people that have been shot and killed, and officers that have been shot and severely injured, one that is to this day paralyzed. We have a responsibility to them to not jeopardize the ongoing cases.
Was it
what
a
else?
matter of just not doing the homework, you think, or
Well,
falsifying records?
That'll all,
Make it look like you did?
that'll all come out in due time. But the truth is, again, that when you have an officer involved shooting involving 4 officers shot, another officer, seriously injured, I'm proud of the fact that despite the silver lining, I think, if there's any, is that we take the use of deadly force very seriously, and not just this police department, but I think in general in American policing. We take it extremely seriously, and we did a through our own volition, through our own initiative, set into motion, put together a team that was directed to take a lot of steps to make sure that we uncovered the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we wouldn't be here today had we not done some of the things that we did. And I want to just, again, commend Sergeant Bass and his team and Chief Dobbins and their team for the work that they've done to get us to this point. We cannot change what happened. Can't change it. Can't go back. You can't go back in time. You just can't change it. But we have an absolute duty to pursue the truth and pursue the facts. And I think that that's what we've done. That's what our federal partners have done. And that's what our partners with the DA's office has done.
Chief,
Anything else?
The feds this morning say that the charges alleged none of Garcia's claims are true. And they reference the fact that in her call she said that she had guns, including machine guns. Were there guns at the house or not?
Yeah, we recovered firearms in a firearm in the house, yes.
We're trying to identify, they're stating that the charges alleged none of Garcia's claims were true.
Well, look, I told you at the beginning of this press conference, we're not going to do a tit for tat. But whether something is true because you just had no personal knowledge and just made something up and just happens, it's Texas, right? What are the chances of not finding a gun in any house, right? This is Texas and this is the United States. Most houses, I would say, a greater number you would find firearms than not. And so I'm not going to get into the specifics, but we'll just have to wait. You guys will just have to monitor these cases as they go forward, and then as they go forward, you'll be able to get more details.
So just to be clear, you're not able to tell me if Mrs. Garcia had a relationship with the former officers?
I don't know of any. I have no knowledge of that.
Chief, you talked a lot about all of the investigations that have come out of your department's investigation into this, the review of the narcotics division and all of that. And then you say, well, when this all comes out. So when do you anticipate that actually happening?
Well, I mean, this is going to come out in either when documents are released by the pleadings, you'll be able to see some of the facts. And obviously, if it goes to a trial, and I've already seen some reports that, from the defense attorney, you wouldn't expect anything else. Kind of like a plaintiff's attorney, they're going to say whatever's most beneficial, that they've committed no crimes. Well, then I would assume that means that we're probably going to end up in a jury trial. I don't know.
That's not my question. My question is, you said we want to see the good, the bad, and the ugly.
You're going to, I will finish.
Are you going to release your findings?
Well, our focus right now is on criminal cases, first and foremost, and that's what we're going to focus. When we get through these criminal cases, we will release everything else that we need, that we're at that time. And let me just tell you guys, we've had a loss of life, two lives were taken, 4 officers shot, 1 who's actually charged in this case, another officer's paralyzed. Our responsibility, first and foremost, is to the criminal case, and that's what we're going to focus on. Yes, go ahead.
You went concrete with the stats.
I can't hear you.
And in August, when you indicated that I stand by what I've said, we had probable cause, considering what happened today.
I stand by what I said, that we had a reason to be in that house. And just remember, what we said, that we had a reason to be in that house and probable cause or suspicion to be in that house. There's a reason we were there, and that will all come out in due time, all the specifics.
Chief, you talk about you can't go back in time, you can't change what happened, but how do you reassure the public that something like this isn't going to happen again?
Well,
You talk about that this information will be eventually released, but it's going to be released sort of piecemeal, but how do you reassure the public as a whole that, this is not going to happen, and an officer is not going to take advantage of the system?
Well, look at police officers have been engaged in misconduct since the advent of time. Human beings have been sinning since the days of Adam and Eve, right? I mean, we're imperfect beings. I can't guarantee that nothing will ever happen again. And any chief that tells you they have a system where they're going to guarantee that nothing will ever happen, what I can guarantee is that, number one, we will continue to be vigilant in our processes and our systems and our audits that we have, in our policies and procedures. What I can tell you is that we will always ask the tough questions when we take a live. What I can tell you is that the chances of this being systemic are not going to happen because of the processes and the systems that we have in time. But at the end of the day, there is an element of trust when you have employees. There's an element of trust that no matter what systems or processes are in place, there is no such thing as a 100% fail-proof process. There isn't. And if you, at the New York Times or KPRC or anyone has a 100% guarantee process of perfection, of not letting anything go wrong, please let me know.
We know that there can't be an 100% protection, but there can be steps taken to prevent this from happening. So piggybacking off of my colleague, are you all taking any measures? I know when it first came out, you did away with.
Yeah, we've taken numerous steps. Some of that we've already put out to you all. We don't, no-knock warrants have to go through us. We have requiring people to actually certify who's ever in that affidavit, that everyone's got to sign off on it, all the officers involved in terms of having material witness, being a material witness or having provided information, they've got to sign on it. So we have taken steps to mitigate the potential for something for malfeasance to be able to sneak into a process like this. Couple more questions, excuse me, hold on, stop. Couple more questions, then I'm going to go to Spanish, then I got to get going because I've got to be somewhere else.
Ms. Garcia, do you all have any indication that she maybe had a pattern of calling and stuff to your?
I'm not going to talk about specifics on the case.
Generally
One more.
speaking, Chief,
One more on somebody that hasn't asked a question. Yes.
So the officers were already,
No, he hasn't asked a question.
the officers faced charges already by the DA months ago. Why did it take so long for Ms. Garcia to face charges?
This is a separate investigation by the FBI, and it's a
Investigate her?
huh?
Y'all didn't investigate her?
This is a separate statute by the FBI. Okay, and just remember, we're not the charging agency in any of this. The prosecutors decide who charges what. And secondly, remember that we've been going through a grand jury process at the federal level for weeks, if not months. So a lot goes into decisions in terms of prosecution. Some of it can be related, and I'm not telling you what is or isn't because I'm not going to speak to specifics, but some of it is because of stuff that has been uncovered in a grand jury process at the federal level. Some of it is because of the actual investigation. So it's all of the above. Okay. All right. We'll do Spanish, and then I have to get going.
Chief, ¿qué es lo que tiene que decir sobre este caso, sobre el anuncio que hicieron los federales sobre la investigación civil en contra de estos oficiales?
Bueno, esta mañana elementos del Departamento de Policía de Houston asistieron al FBI haciendo los arrestos de estos sospechosos que ahora tienen cargas serias en el nivel federal. Lo que quiero decir a la comunidad que cuando esta tragedia ocurrió, que le hicimos una promesa, prometimos a la comunidad que íbamos a hacer todo posible para descubrir lo feo, lo bonito y lo malo. Y hoy es otro paso en nuestros esfuerzos a buscar justicia para las dos personas que murieron en ese evento y también para los oficiales que no hicieron nada más que ir a hacer su trabajo, que desgraciadamente por las acciones de dos oficiales estuvieron con estos heridos en ese tiroteo. Quiero también decirle a la comunidad que nosotros hicimos una promesa, y esto es más evidencia de nuestra promesa, que íbamos a encontrar lo que es la verdad. Y estoy orgulloso que nuestros oficiales, el sargento aquí que está con nosotros, el sargento Bass y sus colegas han trabajado muy cercamente con nuestros colegas al nivel federal y también al nivel estatal con el fiscal de Harris County. Así que para mover adelante lo que queremos hacer es decir que vamos a hacer todo posible para traer justicia en este caso. en la Corte de Criminal y también vamos a estar al tanto para estar seguro que no ocurre algo como esto de nuevo. Pero al fin del día, no importa qué hacemos, al fin del día tenemos que tener un poquito de confianza con los oficiales, pero hemos tenido medios nuevos para asegurar que sea un oficial que no quiere hacer su trabajo correctamente, que nosotros como supervisores podemos encontrar a ese oficial antes que haya una tragedia.
¿Están sorprendidos con los resultados de esa investigación por el lado civil y si tiene
No, yo no, a mí nada me...
similar con la investigación que ustedes
No, yo no estoy. Nosotros hemos sido parte de esta investigación a nivel federal. Hemos cooperado y hemos estado asistiendo al FBI, también al District Attorney. Así que al fin del día vamos a ver, en la corte van a ver qué es algunas de las cosas que han estado descubiertas por esta investigación, pero acuérdese que también tenemos otro caso al nivel estatal con el DA's office, ¿ok?
En los últimos
All right,
48
gracias.
horas, nosotros
I got
también
it.
trabajamos con Telemundo también, señor.
Yeah, no, I
En
gotta
las
go.
últimas 48 horas hemos hablado con la familia de Regina Nichols
Sí.
en persona y también con la familia de Dennis Tuttle en persona.
Ah.
El tío y el hermano, de los dos separados. Después de todo lo que ha pasado aquí en los últimos
Bueno,
días,
mi corazón,
¿qué mensaje
mi
tiene usted
mensaje que
para la familia?
well, look, let me just say this. My heart goes out to the Tuttle family and and once they're represented, I can't call them because they're represented. It wouldn't be appropriate. But regardless of what they did, right or wrong, regardless of what happened in terms of whether the officer-involved shooting was objectively reasonable or not, we know without a fact, and I told you all early on, that we had an officer lie about his actions that led up to the issuing of a warrant. And for that, I apologize to that family because even if they had, and I said this before, even if they had a ton of heroin in that house, we're still a nation of law. And we're in a nation of law, we have to abide by the constitutional requirements that we take an oath to follow. So para esa familia, como yo, and I did talk to the brother early on, he's from Austin, and extended my condolences at that time. This is way early on before, they got representation. Pero mi corazón es con ellos. No importa si fueran los peores criminales del mundo entero. Somos un país cuando las regulaciones, la ley, la constitución, tenemos que respetarla. En este caso, sabemos que tenemos evidencia que uno de los oficiales no dijo la verdad y eso empezó una serie de eventos que desgraciadamente perdimos 2 vidas y también tenemos 4 oficiales, 3 que son víctimas también de las actividades del oficial sucio que fueron atribuidas. And I will just say this because I know that people will just hinge. The officers that showed up to execute what they believe was a lawfully executed search warrant are victims just like the family of Regina and Mr. Tuttle.
But should the shift folks an initial
No, we're done.
January 8th call? Should they have done something more?
We're done very
Do
much.
not
Thank you very much.
get it into
Thank you.
investigation?
Spanish too, huh? Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thanks for being here.